Hi, this is Kathy from Night Owl Quilting Studio. I'm here today to demonstrate to you how to square up a quilt block when you're working on a quilt to make sure that you have really nice, even blocks to sew together for your quilt. Some patterns, as you're working with them, will tell you when you've reached a certain point in a block that at that point it should measure a certain measurement. That is the case with the block that I have here today. This block in the pattern says once I've put the star points on the center block, it should measure 9.5 inches. The actual size of the quilt when I finished it is about 10.5 inches. So that means that I have to square it up and cut it down. So I'm here to show you how to do that. First of all, because I need to square it to 9.5 inches, I'm going to choose my 9.5 inch square ruler. This is really a handy tool to have when you're squaring any block that's 9.5 inches or smaller. So I wouldn't want to just simply place this 9.5 inch ruler down on the block so that I've lined up the corner here and the bottom and the left side of it, because when I cut off the right side and the top to make it 9.5 inches, I could potentially be cutting off the points of my star because I haven't bothered to center my star in the center of the 9.5 inches. And it doesn't matter whether your block is a star or half square triangle or any other kind of design, you want to find the center point of your design. Horizontally and vertically, you want to know where the center is. So on this particular block, the center is right where the star points come together here in the middle on both sides. So I want to make sure that I am at the center point of my ruler at all of those places. So for a 9.5 inch block, half of that measurement is 4 3/4. So what I'm going to do is find on my ruler the 4 3/4 marking, and I'm going to line it up vertically on both sides of my block so that that 4 3/4 line lines up right in the center of the star points. Then I'm going to look at the side and I'm going to line up the 4 3/4 inch mark so that it lines up evenly horizontally across the block right at the star point. So once I have the 4 3/4 lined up in each spot, and for your block, whatever the design is, you would find the center of the block, figure out the center of the measurement you need, and find that center point on your ruler. Now, if you're right-handed, you're going to cut on the right-hand side of the ruler first, and you can safely cut across the top. So I'm going to do that now. Move it down so that you can see me cutting it on the video here. Make sure that I'm still lined up. Another thing that you can do also is you can check some seams in your quilt, in your block, and make sure that the lines on your ruler are lining up nicely with the seams that you have in there. So you want to cradle the corner of your ruler between your finger and your thumb, and then you're going to cut up the side, and you can remove that once you've cut it, and then you're going to cut across the top like this and remove that piece. The next thing you want to do is you want to take this corner. This is, you just cut across the top and made a nice straight cut, and down this side. So this corner that you just made a nice straight cut on, you're going to rotate that around so it now becomes the bottom left corner of your quilt. You're going to place your 9.5 inch ruler back on your block, and now you can line up the side of the ruler and the top of the ruler with that nice straight cut that you just made, because you know that your block is centered because you've already centered it and made those first cuts. So this time you're going to cut again on the right side. I'm going to shift it down so you can see both cuts. You're going to line it up and you're going to cut it on the right side again and across the top. And then when you finished, your block will measure exactly 9.5 inches. If you were to put your ruler on there, you would see that your ruler matches all the way around all 4 edges right at the edge of your block. Now, if you were a left-handed person, you're just going to do the opposite. You're going to cut up the left-handed side first and across the top, and then you would take this left right corner, top corner, rotate it down to the right bottom. So it's just the opposite direction. And then again, you can cut up the left and across the top. So that's how you would square off a block. And as I said, it doesn't matter what type of block you have, it can be any kind of a design or a motif. You want to find the centers horizontally and vertically, and then measure that on your ruler. Use a square ruler, not a rectangular ruler, so that you get a nice square cut, and you'll have a really nice block to put into your quilt. Thank you for joining us today. I hope this helps.